All right, so we're diving into Midea.
Midea.
Yeah, the world's #1 appliance company.
Wow.
But it's pronounced my dear.
My dear.
Not Midea.
Okay.
And they nailed this global campaign about, that feeling we all crave, feeling at home.
Yeah.
But how do you do that when home means something different everywhere?
It's a great question, isn't it? And I think that is the challenge that so many brands face when they're trying to go global.
Right.
They kind of get stuck in this one-size-fits-all mentality.
Yeah.
But you know what's fascinating about what Midea did is they really embraced those differences.
Yeah.
They didn't just translate the same ad into, 100 different languages.
Right.
They really tapped into these genuine cultural tensions, and I think that's where the magic really happened.
Yeah, it's like instead of trying to erase those differences, they actually leaned into them.
They did.
And used them to tell, richer and more authentic stories and to connect with people on a deeper level.
Exactly. And I think that's something that we can all learn from, as brands and as individuals.
Totally. And we're super lucky today because we have insights from the guy who made it all happen. Brando himself.
Brando.
The global brand expert who spearheaded this whole thing for Midea.
He's a legend.
He's like the mastermind behind this whole surprisingly friendly campaign.
Yeah, and you know what I love about Brando is that he's not just about, keeping all his secrets to himself.
Right.
He's really all about sharing what he's learned.
Yeah.
He's got his company, the Brando Group, and he's also got this awesome podcast called B+.
Yes.
Where he talks about his Be More philosophy.
The B+ credo.
Yeah, the B+ credo, exactly.
And it's all about pushing boundaries and connecting with people in a more meaningful way.
Yeah, I mean, he's a true believer in the power of, human connection, and I think that really comes through in his work.
So before we get too deep into the philosophical side of things,
Yeah.
let's break down how he actually pulled this off.
All right, let's do it.
This global campaign.
Okay, so picture this, Midea wants to launch this campaign called #ImHome.
#ImHome.
Exactly, I'm home.
Cute.
Right. But here's the thing, a heartwarming message about, baking cookies with your family.
Yeah.
That might not resonate the same way in every corner of the world.
Totally. What makes me feel at home here in, host speaker's location probably wouldn't hit the same way for someone in, say, Indonesia.
Exactly. So how do you bridge that gap? Well, Brando had this brilliant principle that he called global consistency, local relevancy.
Ooh, I like that. Global consistency, local relevancy.
Yeah. Basically, it's having a strong unifying message, but then tailoring it to fit different cultures and lifestyles.
So the core idea is the same, but you kind of dress it up differently?
Exactly. You give it a different flavor,
Yeah.
a different spice
Okay.
to appeal to those different palates.
And how did they figure out what those specific nuances were? They didn't just sit in a boardroom and guess right.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
They actually went out and talked to real people.
Ooh.
Using something called Vox Pops interviews.
Vox Pop.
Vox Pops.
Okay, pause for a sec. For those of us who, aren't branding gurus.
Right.
What's a Vox Pop?
Okay, so think of it like a really focused snapshot of public opinion.
Yeah.
So they'd hit the streets. In this case, they did it in 5 different regions around the world.
Wow.
And they'd ask people very specific questions about what home meant to them.
So not just hey, what's your favorite appliance?
No.
Okay.
It's much deeper than that.
More what makes you feel safe and secure and loved?
Exactly. What challenges do you face when it comes to creating that sense of home?
I like it.
What are your aspirations? What are your dreams?
So it's getting to the heart of what home really means to people on a personal level.
Exactly. And these Vox Pops, they revealed some pretty fascinating cultural tensions that Midea could then weave into their campaigns.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so in Indonesia, a big theme that emerged was the pressure that young women face when they leave their family homes to move in with their husbands and in-laws.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a huge life change.
Huge.
And probably comes with a whole lot of expectations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's this whole new family dynamic to navigate,
Yeah.
new traditions, new rules.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And Midea, they didn't shy away from that.
Yeah.
They actually created an #ImHome video specifically about this tension.
Really?
Yeah, it featured a young woman navigating this new chapter, finding comfort and familiarity amidst all these challenges.
So it's not just buy our fridge, it keeps things cold.
No.
It's more we understand this difficult transition and our products can help make it a little bit easier.
Exactly. It's about providing support.
Yeah.
understanding empathy.
Like, we get it, girl. We've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this campaign so powerful.
Right. It's not just selling a product. It's like offering a helping hand.
It is.
It's like saying, hey, we're here for you.
Exactly. And that's what Brando's all about, you know.
But be more philosophy.
Yeah. Be more.
Be more than just a company.
Be more than just a brand. Be a friend. Be a helper.
Be surprisingly friendly.
Yes, surprisingly friendly.
Okay. But I'm guessing Indonesia wasn't the only place with unique home story.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Each of the 5 regions had its own distinct tension,
Oh.
all uncovered through those insightful Vox Pops.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so for instance, in Brazil,
Okay, Brazil.
they tackled the topic of adoption.
Adoption.
But hold on, before we jump to Brazil,
Okay.
I'm curious about something.
Yeah, what's that?
Why is Brando so open about sharing all of this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, most companies, they guard their marketing secrets, like, you know,
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're afraid someone's going to steal their ideas.
Yeah.
But Brando, he's different.
He's like, here, world, take my knowledge and run with it.
He really believes in the power of knowledge sharing.
Okay.
You know, he sees his work as a kind of blueprint.
A blueprint.
Yeah, for other brands to create more authentic connections with their audiences.
So he's not just trying to, like, you know, win the marketing game.
No.
He wants to elevate the whole industry.
He does.
I respect that.
Yeah, he's a true leader in that sense.
Okay.
So back to Brazil.
Yes.
What was their home tension? Well, the Brazilian campaign focused on this really heartwarming, but sometimes challenging process of creating a welcoming atmosphere for newly adopted children.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they used the hashtag ImHome theme to show how Midea products could help build that sense of family and belonging.
So, again, it's not just about the features of the washing machine.
No.
It's about the feeling that it creates.
Yes.
The sense of home.
The emotional heart of what it means to build a home.
This is like storytelling 101, but on a global scale.
It really is, and it worked brilliantly for Midea.
It did.
But we're only scratching the surface here. Remember, they did this in 3 more regions.
3 more regions.
3 more regions.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell me about the next campaign.
Okay.
Wait, actually, before we get to that, maybe we should rewind a bit.
Okay.
How did those Vox Pops actually inform the creative process?
Great question.
Like, how do you go from interviewing people on the street to, like, a full-blown emotional video campaign?
Yeah, so that's where the real magic happens.
Okay.
Brando's team would take those hundreds of Vox Pop interviews, and they would identify the recurring themes and anxieties, and then they would distill them into...
Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick pause here and come right back to unpack how those Vox Pops turned into marketing gold. And you won't believe what the home tension was in the next region.
A single powerful insight. That captured the essence of what people in that region were grappling with when it came to home. You know, it's like finding that common thread in a tapestry of different experiences.
Yeah. So it's not just about, you know, cherry picking a few catchy quotes from the Vox Pops.
Right.
It's about, like, finding that deeper universal truth
Exactly.
that resonates with the audience.
And then the creative team would take that insight and translate it into a compelling narrative for the emotional video.
Right.
They would carefully craft the story, the characters, the visuals, the music to create something that would really move people and make them feel seen and understood.
That makes sense. So it's like a relay race. The Vox Pops gather the raw material.
Yes.
The brand strategists refine it into a core insight.
Yes.
And then the creative team runs with it to create the actual campaign.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, I'm dying to hear about the other campaigns now.
Okay.
You mentioned Brazil focused on adoption.
Yes.
What about the other regions?
Well, the third campaign took us to the Middle East.
The Middle East.
And here, the Vox Pops revealed a different kind of tension, the pressure surrounding arranged marriages.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a completely different cultural context
It is.
than what we've discussed so far.
Yeah, and again, Midea, with Brando's guidance, decided to face that tension head on.
Okay.
They created an hashtag ImHome video that explored the journey of a young couple navigating an arranged marriage,
Okay.
finding comfort and connection within that tradition.
It's like they're saying, hey, we get that this is a big part of your culture,
Yeah,
and we want to be a part of your story.
exactly.
Supporting you as you create your own home.
Yes.
Within these very specific circumstances.
It's about meeting people where they are respecting their traditions and showing that you understand their unique challenges and aspirations.
So 3 down, 2 to go.
Mm-hmm.
What about the 4th region?
The fourth campaign took place in Russia.
Russia.
And here, the tension they uncovered was all about farewells. The emotional video focused on the bittersweet feeling of young people leaving their family homes to pursue their dreams.
Ah, the classic coming-of-age story.
It is.
But I'm guessing it holds a particular significance in Russian culture.
Yes. There's a deep cultural resonance there.
Yeah.
A strong emphasis on family ties. And a sense of nostalgia for the homeland.
Right.
So even though the leaving home narrative is universal, they tailored the messaging and the visuals to reflect those very specific cultural nuances.
So even though each campaign tackled a different tension,
Yeah.
they all ultimately tie back to this universal desire for connection, belonging, and creating a space where you can truly be yourself.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this campaign. It's both globally consistent and locally relevant. It speaks to our shared humanity while recognizing the beautiful tapestry of cultures and experiences that make up our world.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, we've covered 4 of the 5 #IHome campaigns. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting to hear about the 5th one.
Well, the 5th one is actually quite interesting because it takes us back to Indonesia.
Wait, really? They did 2 campaigns in the same region.
They did. And the reason is that Indonesia is such a diverse country.
Right.
With a wide range of cultural nuances. Remember, the first Indonesian campaign focused on young women leaving their family homes to get married.
Right. That was about navigating the transition into a new household and new family dynamic.
Exactly. This second Indonesian campaign took a slightly different angle, exploring the tension surrounding the arrival of a new baby.
Oh, I can only imagine the pressure and expectations that come with a new baby.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in a culture with such strong family ties like Indonesia.
Yes.
I mean, everyone has an opinion on how you should raise your child.
You're absolutely right. And the Vox Pops revealed that this was a major source of anxiety for young couples.
Yeah.
Particularly when it came to meeting the expectations of their in-laws.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how did they tackle this very delicate topic in their #ImHome campaign?
They created another emotional video, but this time it centered around a young couple preparing for their first child.
Okay.
The video captured the excitement, the nervousness, and those subtle unspoken pressures from the extended family.
It sounds like they really nailed those nuances.
Yes.
You know, like the joy of welcoming a new life.
Yes.
Mixed with the fear of judgment and the desire to do everything right.
Precisely. And of course, woven into the narrative was the message of how Midea products could help ease that transition into parenthood.
Okay.
And create a more harmonious home environment.
I'm seeing a pattern here. It's about acknowledging the challenges people face in different stages of life.
Yeah.
And positioning their products as like helpful companions along the way.
Exactly. It's not just about selling appliances. It's about offering support, understanding, and a touch of, surprisingly friendly help.
That's a great way to put it. So 5 campaigns, 5 different regions, 5 unique cultural tensions.
Yes.
And yet they all manage to tie back to this universal desire to feel at home.
Yes.
What stands out to you about this approach?
Well, I think first and foremost, it highlights the importance of truly understanding your target audience.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that what works in one culture will work in another. You need to do the research, listen to people's stories, and be willing to adapt your messaging and your approach to fit their specific needs and values.
Yeah, it's like the difference between throwing a generic party and planning a truly personalized celebration.
Exactly. The second key takeaway is the power of storytelling, as we've seen with the #ImHome campaign stories, have the ability to connect with people on an emotional level, transcend cultural barriers, and build lasting relationships.
And not just any stories. Stories that are grounded in real human experiences.
Yes.
Real challenges and real emotions.
Precisely. And finally, I think this campaign demonstrates the importance of being surprisingly friendly, as Brando puts it. It's about going beyond the transactional and building genuine connections based on empathy, understanding, and a willingness to be there for people when they need you most.
So it's about being more than just a brand. It's about being a friend, a helper, a confidant.
Exactly. And that kind of friendliness can make all the difference in today's world.
Yeah.
It's what makes people feel seen, heard, and valued.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I've learned so much about global branding, cultural nuances, and the power of storytelling.
And if you're interested in diving deeper into these concepts, I highly recommend checking out Brando's work through the Brando Group and his B+ podcast.
Yes.
He's a wealth of knowledge and inspiration.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive into Medea's #ImHome campaign, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked a lot about how they tapped into the universal desire to feel at home.
Yes.
But what does that actually mean? What are the essential elements that make a house a home? Is it about the physical space, the people we share it with, the memories we create there, or something else entirely? What do you think?
That's a great question, and it's one that each of us needs to answer for ourselves because ultimately creating a sense of home is a deeply personal and individual journey.
Right, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Exactly.
But maybe, just maybe, by understanding how others define home,
Yeah.
we can gain a deeper appreciation for our own, and perhaps even find some inspiration for making it even more, well, surprisingly friendly.
I love that, and I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I agree. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating exploration. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
It's kind of wild, right? Like we think of appliances as
Yeah.
these like cold functional objects.
Right.
But seeing how Midea like wove them into these
Yeah.
heartwarming stories about family and belonging and like overcoming challenges,
Yeah,
it really changes your perspective, doesn't it?
it does. It reminds us that even those everyday objects can play a role in creating that sense of comfort and connection.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about like the features or the,
Right.
functions. It's how those things contribute to a larger sense of well-being.
Exactly.
And I think that's where Brando's Be More philosophy
Yeah.
really shines through.
It really does. Right. It's not just about selling more products.
Right.
It's about inspiring people to create
Yes.
more meaningful lives.
More fulfilling relationships.
More fulfilling relationships.
More welcoming homes.
More welcoming homes.
It's about recognizing that, businesses have a responsibility
Yeah.
that goes beyond just making a profit.
Right.
They have the power to make a positive impact on the world,
Yeah.
to connect with people on a deeper level, to inspire positive change.
And I think that's a message that really resonates these days.
It does.
In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, it's refreshing to see a brand like Midea,
Yeah.
like embracing those shared human experiences.
Yeah.
Reminding us that we're all in this together.
Absolutely. And what's really inspiring is that this approach isn't limited to global giants like Midea.
Right.
Any brand, big or small, can adopt this philosophy of
Yeah.
global consistency,
Yeah.
local relevancy, understanding the needs of their specific audience, and tailoring their message to create genuine connections.
So it's not just about, having a catchy slogan
No.
or a flashy ad campaign.
No.
It's about building relationships,
It is
being surprisingly friendly,
surprisingly friendly.
and showing that you genuinely care about your customers.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that applies to all of us,
Yeah.
not just businesses.
Right.
Whether we're interacting with colleagues, friends, family members, taking the time to listen, to empathize, to offer support can make a world of difference.
It's about creating those little moments of connection.
Yes.
Those gestures of kindness
Yeah.
that make people feel seen and appreciated.
Beautifully said. And who knows, maybe by embracing that Be More philosophy in our own lives,
Yep.
we can all contribute to creating a world where everyone feels a little bit more at home, a little bit more connected, and a little bit more loved.
I love that thought. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, no matter where you are in the world, or what your definition of home may be, you deserve to feel comfortable, connected, and surrounded by love.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.